give me a little typeset.
Now, funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
You're tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Thing, that's right. If you're hearing the greatest single piece of sports music ever assembled, it can only mean it's Football Friday in the Doghouse. I mean, where else would you hear it? I mean, where are you going to get that kind of guitar right there? I mean, just busting it on the air. It was like George Benson or something. Just too sweet, man. It's just too sweet. Well, the meetings have come to a close in Destin. And the issue of football scheduling is settled for one more year. That's it. I mean, we already knew what was going to happen, obviously, in 2023. I mean, nothing is changing in 2023. There are no additional teams in the SEC. There are still divisions. It's still, everything is the same. The question has been 2024 all along. And now we know that in the first season of 16 teams, there will be no divisions as we anticipated. Oklahoma and Texas obviously in the mix now. And the SEC will play an 8-game schedule, with each team compelled to play a non-conference Power 5 opponent, which I think everyone already has one of those games on the schedule, no? I mean, you know, don't make it sound like this is some, hey, everybody's got to play 8 conference games, plus you got to play somebody from the Power 5. I mean, they were doing that anyway. Bama is going to Wisconsin. Auburn has Cal coming in. Tennessee has NC State. I know it doesn't sound that impressive, but they are, you know, those are legit ACC, Pac-12 teams. Going to Wisconsin is not going to be easy. Florida State, South Carolina, Clemson. Georgia actually has Clemson and Georgia Tech, and so on. How about LSU in 2024? LSU has USC and UCLA in 2024. So teams were already scheduling for that. They already have that in there. The question is, since we have to fit Oklahoma and Texas in with 7 games each, of course they're going to play each other. That's their 8th game. What games will fall off of each current team's schedule to fit the Horns and the Sooners in? And we're going to find out in the not-too-distant future. We will find out June 14th. So we don't have to wait too long. I would be stunned if Alabama doesn't end up with Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa. I really would. It's not going to be Texas. They're not going to get Texas. And they're not keeping their exact same schedule that they have right now. That's not going to happen either. It's not going to be Texas because they have played Texas 2 years in a row, 23 and 22 and 23. Their 2024 schedule right now, Western Kentucky, the South Florida Bulls, and then they go to Wisconsin in Camp Randall Stadium, and then they play Mercer. Those games aren't going away. And then, of course, they've got their SEC schedule with Auburn. They have Mississippi State. They have Texas A&M. They have Arkansas. They have LSU. They have Ole Miss. They have Tennessee. And they have South Carolina. That's their crossover game. I think the crossover game is going to go away. I think that being that it's a 1-year, 8-game thing, I think the teams are going to pretty much keep their traditional East and West type schedules. And everybody, not everybody. Well, yeah. I guess everybody has to lose a game. Yeah. Right? Everybody will lose one game to fit in an Oklahoma or Texas game. Nobody's going to play Oklahoma and Texas. I mean, am I doing the math right? There are 14 existing teams in the SEC. Oklahoma and Texas will play each other, and then they've got to each have 7 games. So 7 teams of the existing SEC teams, 7 teams will get Oklahoma, and 7 teams will get Texas. Nobody's getting both. And Alabama's not playing Texas. They got to play Oklahoma. You see my reasoning here? Alabama will, I think, play Oklahoma. And I think they're going to lose the South Carolina game. I don't think they're going to take any of those other games off of there, which means Alabama's schedule in 2024 will be brutal. Absolutely brutal. They're at Wisconsin, at LSU, at Ole Miss, at Arkansas, at Tennessee. And they get Oklahoma and Auburn at home and a couple of cupcakes. More on all of that in a minute with Jimmy Stein of Bama Online, which is now part of the On3Sports.com family. Did you see that earlier this week? Bama Online and On3 merged. Bama Online and the Bama Insider merged. So Bama Online, which is, I don't know, for 20 years been right up there at the top of the list of sites to cover Alabama. I mean, that's Travis Ryer's place, right? I mean, that's where you find those guys. Now you've got guys like Jimmy Stein with guys like Travis Ryer and Clinton Lamb. I think it's outstanding. What a staff. We'll get Jimmy's thoughts on softball and baseball as well. Both are going tonight at the same time. Softball in an elimination game with Sanford after the Tide were blown out by the Vols yesterday. And Montana Fouts did not pitch at all. And there's nothing wrong with her other than the fact that, she's got to need it. Probably going to need surgery whenever this ends. My guess is she goes tonight. But they weren't going to bring her in a game that they were getting whipped in. If it was a close game or something like that, yeah, they'd have brought her in. But they weren't going to bring her in a game that they were getting whipped in. It made no sense. So now they got their backs against the wall for the rest of this tournament. And they get Sanford tonight. At the same time, baseball will get Nicholls State in the regionals tonight in Tuscaloosa. Auburn also hosts a regional tonight against Penn. There are 10 SEC teams in the tournament. 7 are hosting regionals. We'll see how many make it to the Supers. 4 of the 8 Supers could be at SEC sites. I'm predicting right now, 12:09 on June 2nd. I'm predicting right now that Florida, Arkansas, LSU, and the Vandy boys will all be hosting Super Regionals next weekend. Half of the 8 Supers will be in the SEC. Honestly, I really love this tournament. I really do. And in between the tournament, I mean, I love not just the SEC teams. I just really love the college baseball tournament. And between that and the Yankees playing at the Dodgers this weekend and the Braves in Arizona, where the Braves and the D-backs have basically the same record, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how much NBA or Stanley Cup action I will even see. I watched a little bit of the NBA final last night. I watched the first half, actually. I watched the entire first half. And Denver just steamrolling them. Miami couldn't throw it in the ocean. I tried to get interested in it. I'm not that interested in it. I'm trying to get interested in the Stanley Cup final, which begins tomorrow. The Florida Panthers are going to be my squeeze, but to be honest with you, I don't care. I really don't care that much. I know a lot of you are into the softball as well, and I'll only check on it as long as Alabama is alive. To be honest with you, after that, I really don't care much. I mean, because we all have our personal, like for me, I'm watching the Bassmaster Elite event from the Sabine River as well this weekend. In fact, it's on right now. Got this thing pumping in the studio as we speak. Here, the water.
She got the hooks.
Yes, got the hooks.
Sounded like a bass. You see that?
See that? Sound like a bass.
I'm going to say that was a bass.
Oh, yeah.
What did I get?
Pitch in there again. That might be a bass. I think I'll throw up in there. Look, I got to do a show about this event next week. All right? I got to have the top three finishers in this deal. $100,000 for first place.
It's a fish, for God's sakes.
It's a fish.
All you need is to snap this thing off the right blade of grass once.
See, just
You get your action.
Loves fishing.
That's all we need.
Snap it off the right blade of grass. See, this is scintillating stuff. It's hard to look away from it. Gotta be honest with you. Been on since 7 o'clock in the studio. Anyway, so between that and the baseball, the college baseball, the Major League Baseball, I don't know, maybe I'll catch a little bit of the race on Sunday afternoon. I might want to get out myself and do something. Just saying. It's tough. It's tough. By the way, they're on the Sabine River, East Texas. Place is terrible. It's a dump. Also, today we're going to be joined by Carter Hogg, a young man playing football at Johns Hopkins University who has invented something that may change the landscape of football for a long time. He came up with this hood thing. It's like a hoodie. It's kind of like a shroud. What do they call it? Baklava or whatever those things. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the right word. But it's like a hood. It's similar to what you see the guys wear late in the season when it's real cold, like in the NFL when they're playing a game in December or January, and they wear that thing underneath their helmet. It's like that. It's something you pull on, and then the body of it kind of comes down. It's like a shroud, and it comes down, and you would tuck it into your jersey, over your shoulder pads, under your shoulder pads, wherever. It has little cooling vents in it and holes in it by your ear so you can hear. It's even got a spot for the long hair guys to be able to pull their hair through the back of the thing. Anyway, this thing is proven to reduce concussions by as much as 61%, according to tests done at the Virginia Tech Helmet Lab. Now, this kid, Carter Hogg, I think he's like 21 years old. He comes from an impressive family of inventors. His father's an inventor. His grandfather was an inventor. And he's put together quite the team to promote the product. And he's going to join us at the top of the one and explain to us how this whole thing works. Why, when you put this deal on, it somehow does something to reduce concussions. I thought it was fascinating. I'm going to share a story with you. All right, phone lines are open, 256-576-4977. You can text the show. 732-9TA-SHOW. That's 732-982-7469. It's a great way to communicate with us. My Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We are on the Facebook and the Twitter at 97.7 ESPN. Go to 97.7ESPN.com, and you can get links to all of that stuff. Get our apps as well. Get both the app for the Zone and the app for the Blitz. You're going to need the app so you can have all our alternate streaming channels for more great programming. Over there in that little glass room with the slanted ceiling, playing the Platters That Matter and a Stacks of Wax. And he's just living large and in charge on a Friday.
Who in
taking poison, like rat poison.
It's not St. Patty's Day, so that's a different day entirely.
Yeah, Gris, I always forget that the Grissom thing is still in there. But you know what? It fits, you know?
Every time you do that, I feel like, I feel like I'm coming, Elizabeth. Yeah. Every time you do it, it hurts my heart. Every time that I hear that, down goes Grissom, I
now even forget what that's from.
It's from basketball.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's from Sparkman hitting the game winner. Yeah.
Oh, is it Coletti on the call?
Yeah, that's Coletti on the call. Game winner. Yeah,
I mean, that's something Grissom does really well. You know what I mean? Some things they don't do really well. They do basketball really well, and so that was
we're like the team on the we're like the team in the other top 10. You know what I mean? It's the team that's always like watching the other team commit the top 10 plays.
Yeah,
I love my alma mater, man. Don't sit here and bash me like that, man. Come on now.
So one thing Grissom fans don't do is rush the field.
Oh, we do. Oh, do
they?
Especially when we beat Huntsville. Anytime we can beat Daddy's money, it's a good time.
You rush to court? Is that? Wait a minute. I thought the Grissom kids were the richer kids than the Huntsville High kids.
No.
Come on.
No,
really?
the chants were always the chants between fans, and I don't want to condone it because they always try to tone them down a little bit.
Grissom was like South Huntsville. That's like where money is.
Grissom's always the Grissom's poor. That was the cheer, and then Daddy's money was Huntsville's cheer. They still do it nowadays.
It doesn't.
It gets toned down a little bit though. They get called out for it a little bit.
Isn't Grissom though in a wealthier area?
No,
really,
I mean
Huntsville High. I thought that Huntsville High is more in the city.
No.
Grissom is more.
Huntsville's in the
South
general,
Huntsville,
downtown area. Blossomwood. You got you did have Hampton Cove for a while till they changed all the zoning areas. And
right, they don't go there.
Because I remember when I went to Whitesburg, half of us went to Grissom and half of us went to Huntsville. So it's like half of our football team just got split up as soon as we went into high school. So,
well, the issue of fans rushing the field or the court in the SEC was also discussed in Destin, and they've come up with a new plan. They've doubled the fine amount.
More money.
It doesn't matter. The people who are rushing are not paying. They don't care. It's not their money. Here's the thing. The money now goes to the losing team. I like that. I mean, it was going to a scholarship fund before, so at least it was, but now the money goes to the losing team. So do you think that Tennessee fan 15 years from now, the next time they beat Alabama, do you think Tennessee fan is going to care about the fact that they've got to pay Alabama $15,000 or $500,000 because they're rushing the field? No, they don't care.
They're going to be paying another coach to leave, and it's just more money that they're going to be dishing out for the season. And I mean, they already did it once. They threw a goalpost into a river and finished with the same record as Alabama, finished behind Alabama.
Yeah, you don't have to finish for that. You don't have to pay extra for throwing a goalpost in a river. Last year, according to this year's schedule, last year Alabama would have picked up a cool $1 million last year for LSU and Tennessee rushing the field and getting clipped for $500,000 a piece. Now, a part of the rule that I do like, this makes sense. I like the idea where they're going to they'll let the fans rush the field or rush the court after the visiting team has left the sideline. You know what I mean? Okay. So that's not a bad. That's a kind of a trade-off. Yeah. Can you just stay put for a second? Let's get the officials. No. You got to get the officials and the visiting team off the field. No handshake. Just get off the field. Get in your locker room because they're finna rush. Okay. So do you think they could get them to hold back for a second?
Like a countdown.
Yeah, they'll just walk them off. They'll play the death march. You know what I mean? As a like Darth Vader or something. And the other team goes to the locker room, and then as soon as they're in the locker room, you can rush the field for free. I
understand the whole safety point, but I mean, I've been a part of two field rushings, and
as a rusher?
No, just a rush.
Just
I guess a
rushie on the field.
Yeah, just being caught on the field, turning around in 19 when Auburn won. I get the safety part,
Oh, it's dangerous.
But it's like if you're just smart, I mean, just kind of avoid people, because as soon as I turned, everybody was coming out of the student section in 19. So it was like one of those things. But luckily, I guess if you don't have a pass, I understand. But you walk right into the tunnel, you get out of the way. But I mean, if you just walk to the corner and get out of the way,
you were celebrating with them. You know what I mean? Being a
like
big Auburn guy
like you are. Yeah, I was there in the middle.
You were like celebrating. We were right in the middle
of the whole thing.
on,
TikTok live, everything.
Yeah.
No.
And you were celebrating with them.
Slap hands, everything.
All right, so
War Eagle.
There are 4 teams in the SEC. This thing, this whole field storming deal, this all went into legislation went into place in 2004, Grizz. It's almost 20 years. There are 4 teams that have never been fined for storming the field.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Can you name, Grizz, the 4 schools in the SEC that have never been fined for storming the field?
South Carolina.
South Carolina is a good guess, but it is
Vandy. Oh, okay. So they
Vandy
got
scores. Vandy beats Austin Peay, and they stormed the field.
Missouri. Wow. I guess.
How about the good teams?
Somebody.
Think of the good teams. The bad teams stormed the field. Think of the good teams in the SEC who don't.
I
Act
thought
like
these teams wouldn't have stormed the field for anything because they haven't done anything. But
well, no, that's the thing. In 20 years, they've won a game.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They've done something in 20 years.
Alabama. Yeah,
never have stormed the field.
They don't do it.
You know why? Because they expect to win.
Exactly.
You expect to act like you're supposed to. If you storm the field, that means you think you were going to lose. Can't do that.
Florida?
Never storm the field. Act like you're a champion.
Ole Miss?
You're close.
Mississippi State? Oh,
no.
We said close.
No, you're right. Mississippi State, you're right. Mississippi State. So there's one left. Think about one other team.
I'm surprised State didn't storm the field on something.
Right. Mississippi State is the only one that's not like the other 3. Alabama, Florida, and what is like Alabama in the last 20 years of the SEC? Alabama, Florida.
Not LSU.
No, they just did it.
Georgia?
Alabama's LSU's done it so many times. They're up to they're up to 500,000. Georgia?
Okay.
Georgia.
Okay. Well, I was seeing what you were doing there. I just didn't.
See what I'm saying? Alabama, Florida, Georgia, the teams that are the best teams over the last 20 years.
I thought maybe Georgia would have done one because I know that it wasn't storming the field, but they did that altercation with Hawaii.
That's not a field storming.
Yeah. But I thought maybe like Georgia had done.
And they never beat. They've only beaten Alabama once in the last.
Well, they beat Alabama. Didn't they beat Alabama at home, or was that in 2007, or was that at Georgia?
They 2007.
Because they beat Arkansas the week before, and then everyone's like, "Oh, it's Alabama's year." And then the next week they lost to Georgia.
That game was in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
they beat Alabama in overtime in Tuscaloosa, so they didn't storm the field. It was in Alabama. It was in Tuscaloosa. I was on the field when that happened. I was in the corner of the end zone when the guy caught that touchdown pass.
That's what I thought. There were a lot of good cheers. There were a lot of good cheers after that Arkansas series, and then I don't think there was a lot of good ones after Georgia.
After that, Alabama won the next 7 games against Georgia. And they've lost the last one they played, which was in the national championship game in 2022. That's what's the funny thing. The Kirby Smart people, they all act like Kirby Smart owns Nick Saban now and all this other kind of stuff. Alabama beat them in 08 and 12 and 15 and 18 twice, in 20 and 21, and then lost the national championship game. I mean, Nick Saban won 7 in a row. He's 4-1 against Kirby. Kirby owns them. He's beat him once. It's just the way it is. Let's get a break. When we come back, Jimmy Stein joins us from Bama Online, now a part of the On3Sports.com family on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at BobWallaceAppliance.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
With spring games done, next up is SEC Media Days. We got you covered.
This is when you need it, in this situation right here.
On your only full-time sports talk radio station, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Segment of Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. For all your service needs, it's Woody Anderson Ford. No one can do a better job than Woody Anderson Ford when it comes to servicing your vehicle. And it doesn't even have to be a Ford to get that kind of service at Woody Anderson Ford. I mean, that's just how good they are. They can take care of all of your vehicle needs. Now, when you get down there, you're going to see all those certified gold pre-owned vehicles and all those new Fords as well. And you're going to say, well, wait a minute, I need to get into a Ford. And that's what you're going to want to do. But anyway, check it out at WoodyAndersonFord.com. Make your appointment today at WoodyAndersonFord.com. Jimmy Stein joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jimmy Stein of Bama Online now, which has merged the whole Bama Insider Group, merging with the On3 Sports family as well. And Bama Online, I mean, that's as big a name as you've had covering Alabama for the last 20 years or so, maybe longer. And to bring those names together, so many of those guys from Bama Online that we've had on the show, to bring that group together with this group of guys that we have had covering Alabama over the years, you know, from On3. I mean, this is a tremendous deal, and Jimmy joins us now. Jimmy, welcome in. How are you?
Oh, doing great, Tom. It has been a busy week, but it's been a great week.
I mean, how cool is this to bring all you guys together under one roof, basically, and it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, it's been sort of, behind the scenes a long time coming, but we've been looking forward to it for a long time, and to have, Tim Watts and Andrew Bone working together for the recruiting fans. I mean, that's huge. Tim and Andrew have been covering Alabama recruiting separately, sort of as competitors, for lack of a better word, for a couple of decades, and now to bring them together as part of one team, along with Travis Ryer, myself, Clint Lamb, Joseph Hastings, who's a full-time recruiting reporter. It's a big team. It's a much larger team than normally works for one team site. But we all work great together. It's been a lot of fun this week.
Yeah, that's going to be tremendous stuff as well, and it'll be neat seeing all you guys at SEC Media Days coming up in Nashville, and I'm sure a lot of the conversation is going to be about the 2024 schedule and the decision that came down to basically hit the pause button and keep everything, for the most part, the same, other than the fact that, I don't know, Jimmy, I mean, I'm no math major, but it would seem to be that each team, each of the original SEC teams, or these SEC teams, are going to lose one of their conference games to accommodate 7 games for Oklahoma and 7 games for Texas. Texas and Oklahoma will play each other, but nobody is going to get Texas and Oklahoma, I don't believe. I think that it seems like everybody will, lose one game that's already scheduled and gain either Oklahoma or Texas. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and that's going to be the complicating factor. I think I really like how the SEC's doing this, unveiling it on a network show. It's going to get a lot of eyeballs that night. There will be a lot of interest, and it's interesting to see, is this going to be a one-off deal where you're going to do it this way one time, and then in 2025, then there will be a new 9-game schedule going forward. That's what I think is going to happen, but heck, if you asked me a year ago, Tom, I would have told you they'd have gone to 9 in 2024. Just didn't work out that way. So that's just yet another moving part to this. Is it going to be just a one-year format in 2024, and then they move on to something else quickly?
Yeah, and I got to believe that it is. I mean, to me, I mean, it makes sense to do it this way, especially to kind of test the waters and see what it means, to the playoff and all of that. But I would think that this was the capitulation. They said, okay, we're going to do this, but get ready. We got to be ready to go by 25, with the 3-9 schedule. That would be my guess.
Yeah, no one's going to come out and say, not the SEC office or Commissioner Sankey or Alabama or Auburn or Tennessee or Oklahoma, no one's going to come out and say, well, this was about money, because generally you just don't come out and say it's about money. But really, it's all about money. That's what it's about. And by that, what I mean is the contract is in place with ESPN and Disney, and it's paying a certain amount of money. And moving to 9 games immediately was not going to produce more TV money. ESPN did not come to the table with, hey, if you guys move to 9, here's all the additional money we're going to pay you. That wasn't happening. As a matter of fact, ESPN and Disney right now are going through a lot of layoffs of even well-known reporters and workers, and it's just not the time for ESPN and Disney to come to the SEC with more money. Until they do, I think the SEC will remain at 8. Otherwise, if you're just going to 9 without more money, let's just say, for instance, as we all know, Alabama plays Middle Tennessee State this year. If you're changing that game in the future from Alabama Middle Tennessee to Alabama versus Oklahoma, but you're not getting an additional dollar for it, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's a very valuable thing when you add 8 more SEC games to the inventory that ESPN and Disney are paying for. So until they pay more money, I don't see the SEC moving to 9 games. But I do think they will pay more money, and I think they'll do it soon. They're just not doing it now.
You see, I'm coming at this from a completely opposite direction based on conversations what I've had with some that are ESPN insiders and that have some knowledge of this, the whole working process of how this whole thing went down with the new contract. I think the deal was made based on 9. I mean, there's a potential that when ESPN ponied up all of that money, the thought process was that, in negotiating with Greg Sankey told him that we'll have it'll be 9. And now it's the other way, that there's going to be a little bit of explaining that has to go on back to ESPN and say, by the way, we're only giving you the 8. We're not giving you the 9, even though we promised you 9, if that's what was happening. I don't know that there will be more money, out of ESPN. I think ESPN was expecting 9, and this is a little bit of a blow to, what was done. It'll be interesting to see in the coming weeks, months, and years as to how all of that shapes out, because I think they already bought 9. To be honest with you, that's what I've been told by some people on the inside, that they're pissed off because now it's going to 8 when they were expecting 9.
Well, it would be interesting to know exactly what the terms of the actual contract state.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone's reporting that the SEC is violating the terms of a written agreement.
Right.
Now, if, like you said, Thom, I think we may be into semantics in terms of what each side understood, the deal to be.
Yeah,
but,
the handshake. Yeah.
Yep. So it's that sort of thing that needs to be sorted out. I guess in the end, what we're saying is until the SEC and ESPN sit down and hash this out one way or the other, it's going to stay like it is. And I do think it will be sorted out. I think it'll be sorted out quickly. I only think the 8-game schedule is going to take place in 2024. I think by 2025 they'll be at 9.
I agree. Jimmy Stein with us here. All right. And when you look at this 2024 Alabama schedule, of course, we only have to wait. This is good. They're only going to make us wait another, not even 2 weeks to get word on what the, what the schedule is going to be in 2024. But when I look at it, if I use my logic, which says to me everybody in the league has to drop an SEC game to fit in either Texas or Oklahoma. That's the only way we get to those guys having their own 8-game schedule as well. When I look at Alabama's schedule for 2024, and if they're doing this as a one-year thing, I think, first of all, they're protecting the natural rivalries. So I don't think, obviously, Auburn's not going away. I don't think the Tennessee game is going away, and I don't think the LSU game is going away. I know some might be thinking at LSU, but I don't think so. I think that year that they're playing those teams, and I think they're going to play their other West teams that they've been playing. I think they're going to play Arkansas, and I think they're going to play Texas A&M, and I think they're going to play Mississippi State and Ole Miss. They won't get Texas because they'll have played Texas 2 consecutive years, so I don't think they'll get that. I think Oklahoma, I think there's an excellent chance that Oklahoma is going to Tuscaloosa, and it will go to Tuscaloosa in the spot where the South Carolina game is. I would not be surprised at all, especially in that first year of having Oklahoma and Texas, and they're going to want as many sexy games as possible. I would not be surprised at all if it's Oklahoma at Alabama in place of the South Carolina game. What do you think?
I like that guess a lot. I don't even really have a counter guess to it. It's what I would guess would happen is things look very similar to what you would expect.
Right.
But with an addition, meaning that Alabama, I think Alabama as sort of, I don't know if it's fair to say the flagship university of the SEC. I expect Alabama and Georgia both to be playing Texas and Oklahoma, with Georgia playing Texas and Alabama playing Oklahoma. I think those things will happen. Those will be such marquee, big-time welcome to the SEC games that the network would love to have. I think those 2 games will happen. I agree. And if you're adding Oklahoma for Alabama, I'm not sure how equitable it is to Alabama to drop South Carolina.
I know.
Oklahoma. I don't know how equitable it is, but I do think Alabama's more likely to live with, hey, this is just happening in 2024. It's not the permanent thing going forward. I think you're more likely to get, an uneasy nod. But okay, we'll just do this in 2024.
Well, the funny thing is, you could get a frosty one at your local pub if you were to say that, if you were to tell somebody that South Carolina actually had a better record this past season than did Oklahoma, and in a tougher conference. South Carolina in the SEC had a better record than Oklahoma, but that notwithstanding, it's still Oklahoma. Everybody has to get one or the other. I mean, that's the only way the numbers work, because nobody's going to get both. Everybody has to get one or the other, Oklahoma or Texas. And I agree with you. I think that Georgia will end up with Texas. And yes, it doesn't sound equitable on the surface, taking South Carolina off and putting Oklahoma in, but I just don't see them dropping any of the traditional Western, even though there'll be no Western Division, any of those traditional Western Division rivals in that year one. But if it does go that way, this may be the most difficult schedule in the country, because they're at Alabama now, at Wisconsin, at Arkansas, at LSU, at Ole Miss, at Tennessee, and then they'd have Auburn and Oklahoma at home, along with Mississippi State and Texas A&M. I mean, what a brutal schedule, because it happens to be that year that they're going to Camp Randall Stadium, which is so unusual for the Tide to leave the region.
It really is, Tom. And, I saw a graphic yesterday. I think it's from Brett McMurphy's crew at his organization was talking about how the SEC this upcoming year, and it's been this way last year, and it'll be this way next year. The SEC has fewer games scheduled against Power 5 opponents out of conference than the other conferences, making a strong, at least passive-aggressive statement that the SEC just doesn't schedule tough games. And when you just went over what Alabama's schedule is likely to be for 2024 or something similar, it reminds me, last season, despite the fact the SEC doesn't schedule a ton of games against Power 5 teams outside the conference, last season when it ended on ESPN's strength of schedule, 8 of the top 10 strongest schedules were played by SEC teams. 8 of the top 10. So the SEC shouldn't apologize to anyone anywhere about the general strength of schedule in this league. The fact that the rest of the country would love to see the SEC play their 8 or 9 SEC games, but then be required on top of it to play elite Power 5 teams from other leagues. It's just really piling on. I think the SEC should never apologize for the schedules that SEC teams play. That Alabama schedule played out is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and it was funny because they said, they're going to play 8, and everybody's going to be required to play a Power 5 conference game. Well, they all already had them scheduled. I mean, they were already there. I mean, Georgia's playing Clemson. They always play Georgia Tech, and, Tech hasn't been very good, but they're still playing Georgia Tech. And you don't ever know. It's still a legit ACC team, but they're also playing Clemson that year. So, in 2024. LSU is playing UCLA and USC in 2024. I didn't really, that hadn't registered to me till I went and started looking at schedules, but they're playing both of those people. So and everybody has these games already, now Auburn has Cal coming in, not a great team. Tennessee has NC State coming in, but they're still all Power 5 type teams. The other reason I think you could see Oklahoma going to Bryant-Denny Stadium is, and even Nick Saban talks about the fact that games that people want to see. The home schedule in 2024 is Western Kentucky, South Florida, Mercer. Now you get the Iron Bowl at home, and you get the Mississippi State game at home, and you get Texas A&M at home. But, if you add Oklahoma at Bryant-Denny Stadium, you're giving the fans something, because while all these games are being played, Alabama's going to LSU, and they're going to Tennessee, and they're going to all these other, Ole Miss. They're playing all these tough games on the road. In meantime, you go to the home games, half of the schedule at home is Hilltoppers, Bulls, and Mercer Bears. I mean, that's tough to swallow.
It really is. And something needs to be, I think Coach Saban has repeatedly said, Tom, he would like to see the entirety of the Power 5 play nothing but other Power 5 schools, because it's better for the fans. But Coach Saban's also not going to agree to have Alabama do that when no one else is doing it. In other words, Alabama's not going to put itself at a competitive disadvantage. They would like to play under Nick Saban nothing but Power 5 opponents, but everyone else has to do it too so there's at least a semblance of parity, and Alabama not putting itself at a competitive disadvantage just because that's the game the fans want to see. Because the goal is, of course, to make the playoff and win a championship. So that's why we still at present have Hilltoppers and UT Chattanooga Moccasins on the schedule.
Yeah, and I don't mean to create a big problem for listeners out there that are Alabama fans and have you go into some kind of cardiac arrest or anything, but you do have to understand at some point in time. I mean, if they go to 9 in 2025, or maybe they wait till 2026 when at the next iteration of the playoff, however tweaks that might come to the 12-team playoff in 2026. I hate to say it, folks. Nick Saban's 73 in 25. He's 74. I mean, one of these years he's not going to be there. He may never see a 9-game schedule. I'm just saying. I know Jimmy's in great shape. He's healthy. He doesn't want to do anything else. I get all of that. I also saw what happened to Steve Spurrier when he hit 70 at South Carolina, and the negative recruiting really was ramped up. Alabama's still recruiting at a very high level. But, I mean, we can't just keep saying that, 10 years from now when Nick's – it's not going to happen. I mean, it's got to end at some particular point in time, I would think.
Oh, no question. I mean, no question. That day, it is inevitable. It is coming. But as of right now, as we talk today, there's no indication that day is soon. But it's going to happen. And right now, it's anybody's guess. But we'll see. One thing about Nick Saban, Spurrier is certainly in very good athletic shape for his age at the time he retired.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that Nick Saban looks like Joe Paterno or looks like even Bobby Bowden or certainly not Coach Bryant. I mean, Coach Saban is in remarkable physical shape for his age. He seems really sharp. I don't think any of this could happen really soon.
Not really soon, but I mean, you and I can remember the day he landed at the airport, and it seems like yesterday. You know what I mean? That was 16 years ago. So I mean, it doesn't feel like soon, but even if it's 3 or 4 years down the road, it'll be here in a heartbeat. I mean, it was 3 years ago that they announced that Oklahoma and Texas were coming here 2 years ago anyway. So it's amazing how fast it's June, Jimmy. I mean, it's June already this year. I mean, man, stuff. Time flies now. All right, softball team got whacked yesterday. No need to put Montana Fouts in that game, and they didn't. But now they got their back against the wall, and tonight against Sanford, got to believe she's going, right? She's starting. This is it. I mean, there's no reason holding her back at any point now, right? We'll see her tonight.
Yes. I think Fouts is going to be in the circle tonight. Sanford, more of a beatable team. I mean, Tennessee is very, very good. I mean, I think if anyone is going to beat Oklahoma in this College World Series, it would be Tennessee. They're very good. Stanford's good too, or they wouldn't be there. But I do think Alabama, more of a pick'em game to me tonight. I thought Tennessee was sort of a heavy favorite yesterday, but this is more of a pick'em game. If Fouts is, her own coach said she's 70 to 80%. So I guess the question is, can Montana at 70 or 80% beat Stanford? And I think she can. I'm hoping that there's just at least one magical performance left in her legendary career, and that would be a great way to sort of cap it, right? Is a win at 70 or 80% over a really good Stanford team in the World Series. So Alabama's best chance is one more magical performance for Montana.
Yeah, and see what happens there. And, of course, baseball gets started tonight in the regional. And Nicholls State, we don't know much about them. I mean, handicap the chance that baseball has of getting to the Super. I mean, it would be a tough deal. I mean, it would be Wake Forest if they get out of there. Were you shocked that it – well, not shocked. Were you surprised they were to 16? Because we were talking 11, 12, 13 at the lowest. I was a little bit surprised when I saw it come down the pike that they were to 16.
Yeah, the RPI indicated Alabama would be higher than 16. Not to mention their quality of wins playing in the SEC, where 10 SEC teams made the NCAA tournament, an absurd number. The 16 seed surprised me. On the other hand, Tom, Alabama's success in baseball has been so sporadic over the past 15 years that I think you just take it and say, can you believe it? We're not only in the tournament but hosting. So I think there's been less complaining than there might be if Alabama had been an annual participant in the NCAA tournament. So there wasn't as much complaining as maybe there should have been. But it is still a pretty tough regional here. Nicholls State isn't great. Alabama should win the game on Friday night, but they do have one really good ace pitcher. Their ace is a good player. He's going to pitch tonight. For that reason, Alabama is pitching its number one starter, and it's really just a match-up with Nicholls' starter, who's very good. But then the other two teams in town are Boston College and Troy, and Alabama fans are really familiar with Troy and how competitive they are. Troy's a very competitive team with SEC teams, but Boston College, they're normally not a very good program, but they had a great season for Boston College, and they felt like they should have been top 16 in a host. So they're going to come down to Tuscaloosa with a chip on their shoulder, and it's a pretty good bunch from the ACC. So I think it's going to be exciting, and I think it's great to have NCAA tournament baseball in Tuscaloosa again. I do think Alabama will win. I think Alabama's depth of pitching will be why they win this regional at home and advance to the super regional against the number one seed in the country.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, right, Boston College would have been the next one, right? I mean, if you're the 16 seed, you get the toughest two. I would think that's how that works out. So Boston College, if you were going beyond 16, would be technically the 17th ranked team, out of this whole deal, right?
Correct. And they felt they should have been.
And they should have been hosting. Yeah, they think they should have hosted. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
They barely missed.
I mean, we got a chance for 4 SEC teams to host regionals super regionals next week. I mean, you got to think Florida, Arkansas, LSU, and Vandy could all be hosting super regionals next week. Half of the super regionals could be in SEC country. I mean, it's just crazy.
And any of those 4 could win the national championship. I would even throw in Arkansas. I think they're a national. I think they could not just make the World Series but win it. I think there's 4 or 5 SEC teams capable, not just getting there, but getting there and winning it, and that's just nuts.
I think my over or under for a number of teams to cut out of this weekend out of the 10 is about 7. I think this is about 7 of them that can, and let me tell you something. Tennessee underperformed, all season long. They're liable to surprise Clemson over there in that region there. But I think that there's probably 7 teams that get through. 4 of them will host.
I absolutely would not bet against that.
Yeah. Jimmy Stein has been our guest. Jimmy, I appreciate you so much. Great stuff, and congratulations on the merger and being with Bama Online now.
Oh, thanks so much, Tom, and appreciate the support, and look forward to the next time. All
right, man. Thank you. It's Jimmy Stein. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back with a final segment for this hour of the show. It's the Tom Abraham Show on a Football Friday, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hammaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
This is Mike Greenberg. You're listening to 97.7 ESPN The Zone, your home of ESPN Radio, the Alabama Crimson Tide, Atlanta Braves baseball, Huntsville Havoc hockey, and the UAH Chargers.
Welcome back, Tom Abraham Show. All right, let me get Philip in here. We only got a couple of minutes before the top of the hour break, but let me see if I can get him in here quick. Philip, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm all right. Question. So, did you send me the picture of the cameras in the walls?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So, question. All right, let's use the Altuve Judge deal.
Yeah.
So, do they, like, at the beginning of the season, take a batting stance and someone has a tape measure going, okay, Altuve is this high up to this high up, Judge is this high up to this high up, and if that's the case, is someone adjusting the, for lack of a better term, I don't know, whatever, lasers, whatever's come out of that camera, or is somebody just looking at it?
No, I'm
still confused about that.
Yeah, that camera is not really a camera per se. There's one on both sides, by the way. You just showed you the one. That would be the one that's pointing at the right-handed batter, and then there's one on the other side. So if it's a left-handed batter, that quote-unquote camera isn't really a camera as much as it is a device that actually it shoots towards the person and it picks up the knees and the letters, which is the strike zone, the bottom of the letters to the knees, and it immediately gives them that and the width of the plate so that, if the ball passes through that, the laser field, if you will, if it passes through that laser field, it determines whether it's a strike or a ball. And what happens in the minor leagues is that the umpire has, and just AAA right now, the umpire has a little, like a beeper on his hip. And when it goes through, if it goes through the strike zone, it beeps one way. And if it goes not through the strike zone, it beeps another way. And then the umpire has the ability to override it if it were something goofy like, pitch hit in front of the mound or in front of the plate and bounced up and went through the strike zone and it said strike, he can override it, that kind of thing. But it's not really a camera per se.
I don't understand how a camera from a side view can judge the 17-inch depth or width, of home plate.
I don't know, man. They got it figured out, though, somehow. They got it somehow calibrated. I mean, I don't understand how the cop knows what speed I'm going when he's a mile away from me either.
Every time. Like, no way.
But they know.
You didn't get the guy that went past me that went 80?
Yeah, I mean, somehow it knows which one you are. So, I'm not sure exactly how that technology works. Good question, though. All right, we get a break in here. When we come back, Carter Hogg. This kid's pretty bright. We'll talk to him next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A promise from Miami's Jimmy Butler after the 11-point loss in Game 1 of the NBA Finals to the Nuggets, one in which his team set an NBA postseason record for fewest free throws in a game. 2. Butler vowed to attack the basket more heading into Game 2, said the Heat has to get more layups, more free throws as well. Game 2 Sunday night, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern, ABC. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says a ruling on Grizzlies star Ja Morant is coming after the NBA Finals conclude. Morant suspended 8 games by the league in March after a social media post showed him displaying a gun in a Denver club. The Grizzlies suspended him last month after another video showed Morant displaying a gun again. Silver said the league discovered more information during its current investigation, but did not want to have the Morant news overshadow the NBA Finals.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan@danaldridgelaw.com. Dan@danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, blast.
Trash Panda Nation, ignite the fun, let's rock it.
Your Trash Pandas return to the Rocket City Tuesday, June 6th for another 6-game homestand at Toyota Field. Promotions include a Trash Pandas jersey lunch bag giveaway on Tuesday, a Trash Pandas beverage belt giveaway on Thursday, and of course, fireworks close out the evening on both Friday and Saturday. Reserve your seats now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. A couple of isolated showers certainly can't be ruled out. Otherwise, temperatures climb into the mid and upper 80s. Dropping into the low and mid 60s through the overnight early into your Saturday morning. Really is shaping up to be quite a fantastic weekend across the Tennessee Valley. Mostly sunny sky for your Saturday. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. An isolated shower certainly can't be ruled out. Dropping into the mid 60s through the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Sunday. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Alabama Crimson Tide to the Atlanta Braves, we are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby.
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. Whether you're in Tennessee or in Florida or in Alabama, North Alabama Mortgage has the right product for you to get you into your property or to refinance your property. And you say, dog, why do I want to refinance when, you know, the rates are higher than they were a year or two ago? Well, yeah, but those interest rates on the credit cards are even higher, way higher, 3 or 4 times higher than what the mortgage rates are. So you could pull some of that cash out of your house, and the value is way up in your house. So you pull some of that cash out of your property, you pay off all the high interest rate credit cards, and you're way ahead of the game. Okay, so that's what they can do for you at North Alabama Mortgage. Learn more at NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. Get a home valuation done by North Alabama Mortgage. Brian Hammaker and his team standing by to let you know more about that. And by the way, speaking of more about that, I learned some more about the whole robotic umpire thing during the break. And so Philip, if you're still listening, I'm going to give you more information. I learned a ton more about it, the technology, and I'll be able to explain it to you a little bit better. It is not the same system that was used by QuizTech, which is a whole nother thing that was done basically a lot differently than this. But anyway, when it comes to technology, I got to tell you, man, Carter Hogg, who I believe is a football player at Johns Hopkins, has come up with an idea. He comes from a family of inventors, and he's come up with an idea that, according to the folks at Virginia Tech in their helmet lab, says could reduce concussions by up to 62%. This is pretty impressive stuff. Carter joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Carter, welcome to the show. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Are you still playing ball for Johns Hopkins? Is that right?
Yeah. That's me. It's my sophomore season coming up.
I coached at the D3 level up at St. John Fisher College. I see you guys open next year with Ithaca. They're one of our rivals back in the day, and that's good football, man. That Northeast corridor has some pretty good D3 football. But what was the? I mean, you know, you're a young college guy. You're in the middle of your college career. You're supposed to be worrying about whether or not you can fit the kegger in the room and in your dorm, and you're worried about coming up with something to prevent concussions. What was the inspiration behind coming up with this idea?
Yeah, so I mean, being a football player, I've known my fair share of different players and friends that have dealt with concussions and other brain injuries. Specifically, the motivating factor, though, for me was my brother suffered a career-ending concussion his junior year of college last year during the ODAC championship game at Washington and Lee Division III. And that was that wasn't his first concussion, but it was the one that really put him out of the game. I can't even remember the game to this day. And just seeing him go through not only the immediate aftermath of that, but the year-long process after which, just to be able to get back to where he was beforehand, was a huge motivating factor in terms of just sitting down and trying to apply some of the knowledge that I've been blessed to be able to acquire through my education and through my dad, and come up with this idea.
Now, you were a class salutatorian and cum laude. I can't even say it, and you were it at Episcopal School in Dallas. So you're a bright guy. We know that you're a bright guy. This thing, which I described as kind of a shroud type thing, or maybe similar to what you see the players wear in cold weather games late in the year, you know, that kind of comes over their head like a hood over their head, and then it has, you know, a little bit of length to it. It looks like you tuck it inside your shoulder pads or inside your jersey. What made you start thinking of, you know, this could be the way to prevent concussions, and how does it actually work? Because it looks like it's just basically cloth, you know?
Yeah. So when I first approached the question of how could one solve the issue of concussions, the main issue when it comes to any sort of collision and how that causes concussions is the acceleration of your head, because your brain is suspended within fluid inside of your skull. So similar to a passenger in a car, any sort of rapid acceleration is going to cause your brain to hit the inside of your skull. So in order to prevent the concussion from occurring, you have to limit those acceleration values. And up until this point, essentially the only thing people were doing to help reduce the forces of collision, to help reduce this acceleration, was to have better helmets. And my idea was, how could we stabilize the head as a whole by limiting the movement of the neck? And that's where I came up with this idea, because it's a very complicated internal design. Essentially, you get a very flexible, pliable material at low speeds, but when you take any sort of collision or there's any sort of rapid acceleration of the head via some whiplash event, for example, the device activates and strengthens to help stabilize your neck in addition to dissipating energy below the helmet as well.
This is really interesting. This has a lot of applications that could even go beyond, football. I mean, I'm thinking about NASCAR drivers, because they do wear something that's a fireproof deal. But if you had one of these deals that was also fireproof, I mean, it would be something I could see race car drivers wearing as well to kind of protect them when they have that, when they have a collision.
Yeah, exactly. We're also looking into just other contact sports, such as hockey, for example, as well as even skiing. Anyone who falls, you're going very fast there, you hit your head against the ground, it's going to be something that's going to help keep you healthy.
Yeah, hockey player's not going to wear it. I'm just going to tell you. I played hockey in college. Hockey player is very stubborn. Couldn't even get them to wear a shield to protect their eyes. Hockey player would be tough. Football player will wear this, though, I think. They would. Now, how heavy is this material? Because I know it's got some venting and so on in it, but, here in the dirty South where we're at, we're like, this could be making it even warmer. How heavy a material is this, and how do you kind of keep the temperature down inside the helmet?
Yeah, so it's not very heavy. I think the entire thing, and again, it covers part of your shoulder and chest. It comes down to cover specifically your sternum for any sort of collision directly to your chest. To just get an added layer there. The entire thing is about 15 grams, roughly. And it's only 5 millimeters thick. And what we've done to address that issue with heat, I'm someone obviously living in Texas, playing football in Texas for the last couple of years. I'm well aware of having to deal with that heat, not wanting to be feeling extremely hot with another layer. One, there's a bunch of perforation to it, so there's ample space for air to escape, as well as the fact that we've added in, along the back of the neck, pockets in which you're able to insert cooling gel packs, so that you're able to lower the body temperature, similar to if you put a cold towel over your neck.
Which is also very helpful, I think, in preventing concussions as well. It's called Gator Skin, and it's G8R. I couldn't figure out how to say it for the first day I saw it, but eventually got around to it. It's Gator Skin, and you can go to gatorskin.com. It's G8R Skin, or actually G8RSkin.com to learn more about it and to see what this thing actually looks like. And so how was it tested? Because I know that the Virginia Tech in their helmet lab have tested it. Is it something, though, that has gone through any human testing yet, or is it something that was just done, on dummies and run through concussion-type collisions? How do you test something like this?
Yeah, so all of the testing we've done thus far has been on dummies at Virginia Tech. We're starting up our human test samples and just getting data from the entire season, starting this summer and this coming season, just to be able to collect to see the overall effect throughout the entire season. But what we did at Virginia Tech was we used their standard helmet testing system, which involves a dummy with accelerometers in the head. So you're able to collect the data of a collision, and essentially we collected the data with our product and without our product, and we're able to draw direct comparisons between the two to see the benefits of our product.
Carter Hogg with us here talking about this new product, Gator Skin, that he has invented. And now you come from a family of inventors. I mean, let's see, your dad, your grandfather, and you put together, I was looking at the website, you put together a very impressive team, because you have to have the people that can make this product for you as well and market the product. And, oh, by the way, you're in school still, so you're dealing with all of that. But, so this is something that's kind of in your blood a little bit when you had this idea.
Yeah. Blessed to have such a wonderful family, such wonderful history within our family of inventorship. And I can have to give credit to my dad in the sense that him raising me and showing me and answering all the questions I've ever had whenever I was a little kid, talking with him about work and what he was doing, has helped me along my path and helped me get to this point.
All right. So, by the way, what's your major? I mean, are you you got to be like a physics guy or a science guy or something, right? I mean, where are you going with your college education? Johns Hopkins, by the way, very, very good school here. And I mean, there could be testing and everything done. You're at the right school for something like this. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm doing economics and mathematics. So obviously I've also on my own done a lot of physics work, just being able to understand all this stuff. Was one of my major interests in high school, taking a lot of physics classes.
Are these things in production yet? How many of them have been made, for testing purposes?
Yes, they're in production. The number right now is not very high. We probably like 25 total have been produced. But we've gone through all of those for testing and then starting to get some actual players to wear them and get some feedback.
Have you put it on yet? Have you actually worn it, been able to wear it yet in any kind of a live action type scenario?
I have not been able to wear it during a football game, but I have been able to wear it around. I personally find it very comfortable. It doesn't inhibit your movement whatsoever, and it's a nice tight fit. Obviously not constricting in any way, but it doesn't feel like it's something that's flapping around on you.
Now, we know that these guys now, a lot of guys now, they got the dreads going, they got the flow. You have had some pretty long hair yourself, young man, and so it seemed like you took that into account, that you had to have some sort of a way for these guys to be able to wear this with their long hair, right?
Yeah, so there's an option. We have a version that is just normal, similar to a balaclava or ski mask, in the sense that it's closed up, and then there's another option with holes in the back of the head where you're able to put your hair through if you have dreads or very long hair like me.
So you can buy this actually right now at Gatorskin.com. They are for sale. They're about $150. We'll see what happens in the future. Have you had any conversations with anybody as far as, would you guys be able to handle mass production, or is this something that eventually you could see somebody like Riddell or one of the other helmet manufacturers maybe wanting to get involved in, and or are you going to just keep this thing 100% to yourself? Because I know you got plans to do shoulder pads and maybe cleats in the future, and another gear.
Yeah, so we are completely capable of mass production on our own, and we would like this to be the first product in the line of products to help the athletes stay safe and perform better.
Interesting cleats. What's the thought process there? Does this have? And are you a guy that would like to see? Like a lot of the NFL guys want to see the synthetic turf go away. They don't care how good it looks now and how much better it is than it used to be. It's still much stickier, still got a higher percentage of lower body injuries due to it. But, you wonder about the cleat and a better cleat that could be made that would maybe allow, for the leg to slide a little bit and not maybe take all of the strain on the knee or the ankle.
Yeah, so I don't want to share, unfortunately, the specifics of it, but we have several ideas regarding not only dissipating energy, but also enhancing the grip of the player and allowing them to avoid those sorts of injuries.
Yeah, but don't give us any. We don't want your proprietary ideas or anything like that. We don't want to end up having somebody else come up with the deal. I mean, come on. All right, so this stuff it's called Gator Skin. You can check it out at Gatorskin.com. I'll tell you what, man, you're very, very impressive. This is amazing that you're doing this. When I was 19, 20 years old, I was just trying to figure out how to tape my hockey stick, and you're coming up with inventing ways to prevent concussions. Have you gotten the notice of the NFL or USFL or XFL or any of the FLs, college football? Has anybody contacted you on this and said, "Hey, we want to know more"?
We've had preliminary discussions with a number of professional sports.
Nice. So you could see a player. We could see a player wearing one of these things. By the way, does the shroud part that goes down? Does it go over the shoulder pads, or do you put this on under the shoulder pads? How does it go? How does that part go?
Yes, you put it on underneath your shoulder pads. So the shoulder pads themselves help anchor it down. But there is the benefit to it where, by the nature of the design, you're able to open it up on the top and pop it off like a hood, similar to how you would a normal balaclava or ski mask, without taking everything off.
Right.
Obviously, because if you're on the sideline or something like that, you don't want to have to necessarily have something on your head the entire time. So we wanted to take that into account.
So it comes apart. Okay. All right. So I see what you're saying there. So you would put this on first, and then your shockers, and then your shoulder pads, and it kind of keeps it all secured in place. And it'll be interesting to see, once guys start wearing it in practice and in games, whether or not it seems restrictive or whether or not it actually, is very, very comfortable, like you say, in terms of being able to, make you feel very secure under the helmet.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you this, from the shoulder pads and helmet that I've been wearing along with it, just messing around, It does not seem to inhibit me in any sort of way.
Does it change helmet?
Full range of motion.
Does it change helmet sizing at all? Yeah, sizing at all on the helmet?
No, it does not.
Okay,
Nope.
so it's not like you got to have your helmet
thin enough
resized.
that you're able to put your helmet on, able to compress underneath the helmet. Nice, comfortable fit.
All right, Carter. Well, I appreciate you, man. Good luck with this. I'm going to follow it and see what happens with it. I think you might be onto something really cool here.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you. Carter Hogg. Grizz, 19 years old, and he's talking about, inertia and motion and
too many big words.
Speed and, I mean, how tight was that guy? 20 years
really
old.
Smart, quick whip. Excited to see what more he can probably bring to the sport of football, and it kind of looks like the old medieval, it looks like chainmail over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Underneath your helmet and your pads.
Looks like that's what it does look like, but it's probably much lighter.
Oh yeah,
than
lighter,
that chain
lot
stuff
lighter.
that you would wear underneath that helmet. It would seem like it's
like Mithril
very.
in Lord of the Rings. I'll just go straight nerd for you.
So you went to the site, the Gatorskin site, to see it?
Yeah. Well,
kind
I went to the. I think it was the article that I found about it on SB Nation.
It is. It's getting a lot of attention. It is pretty cool, and it's got these little pockets in the back where they drop these cold gel packs in there, which would keep you keep you cool and all of that.
Pretty
kind
cool
of stuff.
technology. I mean, how do you feel about the air conditioned helmets in LSU?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. LSU players got air conditioned
conditioned?
helmets, so it's like it's a battery that lasts for 5 hours.
When did this happen?
Yeah, they're going to be wearing it for this season, for practice and games.
What is? And it's a little. Well, it's got a little. How does it work? It's got a little fan in there or something.
Yeah, it's probably got little motors or something, little fans in there that probably have 5 hour batteries.
Well, if they got it, you think that everybody's going to want to have those. I wonder how much the price of the helmet is now. I mean, helmets have gotten so expensive. Now you're going to have air conditioning units in your helmet. I mean, do they have a big thing sitting on top of their head
No, it just looks like a regular helmet, and it's apparently just blows cool air into it.
You don't have it hanging out the ear hole,
no,
like a window air conditioner.
It just looks like a regular helmet.
You know how when you have a window air conditioner that hangs out, right? You don't think it has one of those just hanging out the side of the helmet? One of those deals
I want the attachment where I can spray water in my face.
I might want one of those in a press box.
Seems pretty cool though that they're gonna be able to wear those.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a picture of it, but it really doesn't show anything.
I saw a video on Twitter when they were showing their a few teammates or a few players the helmet.
But you can't tell that it's an air conditioned helmet. Air conditioned helmet, battery power, 5 hour life. Yeah, there's nothing you can see. There's nothing that's showing anything different that it's air conditioned. That is wild, man. That is next level. I remember when we first got water helmets back in the day, and those were nice because you'd have the cool. They were cooler. A water helmet was definitely cooler. There was no doubt about it. But all right, we'll get a break. When we come back, phone lines go open now the rest of the way. What do you think about the 8-game schedule for 2024? We don't know what the actual schedule is, but do you feel like the SEC bailed out on this thing? Did they cop out on it? Or is this the right thing to do to kind of use some discretion and take your time and figure out exactly how it's going to work? And I don't know. We can play around with these schedules and see what game will get dumped so that you get your 8th game, if you will, because the only way this works is that if 7 SEC teams lose one of their SEC games to add Texas or Oklahoma, and then the other 7 lose one of their games to add Texas or Oklahoma. Right? I mean, that's the math of this thing. Texas and Oklahoma need 7 SEC games. Where are they going to come from? Well, they're going to have to come off of the schedule. So if you look at the existing schedule and you say, well, who's dumping a game so that they could have a game? I think Alabama's going to lose their South Carolina game at home, and they're going to add in Oklahoma at home. And I don't want to hear any bitching about it. It's just the way it's going to be. I bet it happens that way. You look at Auburn's schedule, and I think that Auburn could lose the Florida game. The Florida game at home against Jordan Hare, and they're going to add Texas. That's what I think will happen. I think Texas will replace Florida at Auburn. And they'll have a 3-game run, a 4-game run, where they'll play Arkansas, Texas, LSU, and Texas A&M all at home. Boom, 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 boom. Something along those lines. This is just what I'm guessing. I'm just spitballing here. But I don't think that Auburn's going to lose their Ole Miss game or their Mississippi State game, or they're not going to lose their Georgia game for sure, and they're not going to lose the Alabama game. I don't think they lose the Texas A&M game or the LSU game or the Arkansas game. I think it's the Florida game. I think in most cases that it's the game that would have been the crossover game, your floating crossover game that you're going to lose, and then each school will gain either Texas or Oklahoma. And then Texas and Oklahoma play each other, and boom, there's their 8-game schedule. Do you even care? Do you even care about it? Just like, hey, just give us a schedule. We don't care. 8 games, 9 games, 2 games, 3 games. Do you even care? Would you be more apt to want to see them get rid of some of these other garbage games? That's my focus. My focus is to get rid of the games against the FCS teams and the Group of 5 teams. I don't even want to see Group of 5 teams. Right now in that 2024 season, you see Alabama could have a brutal schedule because they could be at Wisconsin, which they are. They're going to be at Arkansas. They're going to be at LSU. They're going to be at Ole Miss. They're going to be at Tennessee. I think they're going to get Oklahoma in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and they're going to lose their South Carolina game. They're going to have Oklahoma instead. And they'll have Texas A&M at home. And they'll have Auburn at home. But their other home games are against Western Kentucky, South Florida, and Mercer. I don't want to see games against Western Kentucky, South Florida, and Mercer. All right, we'll get a break. Phone lines are open. 256-576-4977 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Now open, this is your invitation to experience the grand opening of ABIQ's new 10,000 square foot showroom. The best brands in home audio, home theater, and home automation. The place to see. and hear and feel and listen and watch. The place where you can audition top brand audio and video equipment before it goes in your home. World-class brands now available in Huntsville. Come experience the difference. 1833 University Drive, just east of the Parkway at the all-new AVIQHSV.com.
Get your tickets at Greatness.
Attention all high school boys and girls basketball players. Ticket to Greatness and Grind Nation have partnered together to bring you the Grind to Greatness High School Recruitment Combine. All athletes will have a chance to showcase their basketball skills directly in front of college coaches. This combine is an NCAA certified event. The boys combine is July 15th and 16th. The girls combine July 22nd and 23rd at Sparkman High School on Jeff Road in Harvest. Register now at greatnesscombine.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Electric cars are coming faster than you think, and that's why we're bringing SEMA Connect to Alabama.
Our team educates you and helps provide a long-term plan for your business. Where to put them, how to get them there, how to pay for them, tax incentives, service, and monitoring. We take care of everything.
Doing the right thing means bringing EV car chargers to Alabama. Let us help you with your EV charging plan.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision overhead garage door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision overhead garage door service. Call 256-400-4500.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. A couple of isolated showers certainly can't be ruled out. Otherwise, temperatures climb into the mid and upper 80s, dropping into the low and mid 60s through the overnight early into your Saturday morning. Really is shaping up to be quite a fantastic weekend across the Tennessee Valley. A mostly sunny sky for your Saturday. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. An isolated shower certainly can't be ruled out, dropping into the mid 60s through the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Sunday. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
And welcome back, Tom Abraham Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center for all your injury needs. It's the Orthopedic Center. They got a specials for everything at the Orthopedic Center. It's tremendous, and thank you to the Orthopedic Center for buying a table at our Woody Anderson Ford Rocket City Awards, presented by the Huntsville Sports Commission, which is coming up on June the 19th. You can do the same thing. You can be there. You can be there. There are still 5 or 6 tables left on the floor, and then we've got seating in the balcony. If you want to get a ticket to the event, it's going to be a spectacular night. We are going to be giving away awards in many categories. We are going to be giving away awards for the Boys and Girls High School Team of the Year. We'll be giving away awards for the Boys and Girls High School Athlete of the Year. The Boys and Girls High School Coach of the Year. The North Alabama College Team of the Year in men and women. The North Alabama College Coach of the Year. The North Alabama College Athlete of the Year for men and women. And the College Athlete of the Year from the area. This is a person that is from our area that has gone on and left the area and is playing sports at another, someplace else. The Pro Athlete of the Year from our area. I can tell you who the nominees are. Javon Harrison, Kyle Wright, and Nick Dowd. That's the Professional Athlete of the Year from our area. One of those will be named the Professional Athlete of the Year, the Inspirational Athlete of the Year, and the Billy Neighbors Lifetime Achievement Award. All of those awards will be awarded at the Woody Anderson Ford Rocket City Awards. Our boys' nominees for High School Team of the Year: Huntsville High Swimming, Buckhorn Basketball, Madison Academy Track. The nominees for the High School Team of the Year on the girls' side: Westminster Volleyball, Hazel Green Basketball, and Sparkman Soccer. I'll give you nominees all throughout. I'll give you a couple each day and let you know what some of the nominees are. If you want to be there, 977tickets@gmail.com. Just email 977tickets@gmail.com. And before I go to the lines, I promise I'd just clarify a little bit what I learned. Grizz, the way they're doing the robo umpires now, it's TrackMan technology. They're not using the QuizTech system. They still have those cameras in the back and all that stuff. You ever watch a golf tournament and you see how the golf ball flies?
Yeah.
You know how when they show the golf tournament, the guy hits the ball and you see the blue line and the golf ball flies? Well, that's TrackMan. So they have one of those big TrackMan deals. It's like 12 by 12 black flat thing that is up high, right directly over home plate, attached to the stadium, up behind home plate and up high. And there's actually a guy that's operating it. And when the batter comes up, he sets the high and the low end of the strike zone, and the TrackMan technology is tracking the pitch. It tracks the pitch and sees whether or not it went over the plate or not.
And so is it from shoulders to knees? I mean, is it
No. The strike zone is from the bottom of the letters to the bottom of the kneecap.
Just making sure that we're all on the same page here.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the strike. Remember, they lowered the strike zone years ago. It used to be from the knees to the shoulders years ago.
Just helping the Philip
when we
out.
were kids.
Yeah.
So now it's the bottom of the letters, and it's to the bottom of the knee, the back of the knee, the bottom of the back of the knee. It used to be just to the knee, and there was some confusion on that. So they actually made it's the bottom of the knee. Anywhere, from the bottom of the knee to the bottom of the numbers, letters on their jersey.
So I wonder how much. I mean,
I don't know what's that mean. Like for the Yankees, they have interlocking NY on their home jersey. I don't know. They just pick a spot.
The bottom of the Y.
Yeah,
especially Aaron Judge. My goodness, that's
so that's how they adjusted for a 5'7" guy or a 6'7" guy. They're able to adjust it from Altuve to Judge because the guy, when the batter comes up, the guy that's operating it, he just sets that. He just sets that part of it, and then he's done.
Not a bad job.
Then the TrackMan tracks the ball coming across the thing. That's how they get all that instant feedback, too, as to spin rates and things like that. That's TrackMan. How the hell do they know spin rate? It's TrackMan.
Like the velocity when it comes off the bat and everything like that. And
all of that information.
Runs.
Yeah, the velo, the distance, everything else. It's all TrackMan. That's like when you watch a golf tournament, you see a guy hit a ball, hit a tee shot.
How do they know it curved like that?
Exactly. You see the curve, and then you see when it lands 273 yards and it bounces another 10 yards. How do they know exactly 273 yards immediately? Well, that's all TrackMan technology. How do they know that was, the spin rate on the ball is lower than it used to be because they're not using sticky stuff now? Let's go to lines. Greg is up. Greg, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate the opportunity. I love the interview with the helmet kid. That was really good. And also,
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, sharp kid. The LSU helmet thing is really interesting to me too, because I knew Bobby Allison back when he was racing, and back when they first started using the cool suits to keep their bodies warm, they would malfunction all the time. And Bobby Allison came up with this thing that he put around his forehead, and it was fed by Freon at the time, and it kept his head cool. And his thinking was, if he kept his head cool, his body thought he was cool, and he thought it helped him be a better race car driver. And I just thought that LSU helmet thing, when they take the helmet off and put it on the video that I saw, it doesn't look like it's any extra stuff in there at all. They just put the helmet on and take it off and put it on. So if that keeping your head cool thing is something Bobby Allison did, a long time ago in racing. And if that thing with LSU works, they're all going to go to that. It's just super cool.
Yeah.
Technology.
But do you remember how Richard Petty used to keep cool? If you remember Bobby Ellison, you remember Richard Petty? Yeah, he had the wet towel in his mouth. He would put a wet washcloth in his mouth. Yeah, he'd just have a wet washcloth hanging out of his mouth. And they would give him a new one. Every time he came into pits, they'd give him a new one that was all iced down. And he would just hold it in his mouth while he drove.
Yes, I do remember that now. Absolutely. But I just thought I'd weigh in with that. That kid was really sharp. And, Bobby thought the deal is you keep your head cool, your body thinks you're cool.
That's funny. That's good. Yeah, right. Bobby's been on the show a number of times too. He's a good guy. He is. I like Bobby.
He's a super good guy. Enjoy the show.
Man. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate you. It's a good job by you. The kid was like, Grizz will get it up. It'll be up later on. You'll be able to check it out on the podcast version of the show and go back and listen to it. The kid's like 9. He said he's going into his sophomore year, Grizz. How old is he? 19? He's 19. Yeah, he's invented something that he's going to make a fortune at.
I'm looking at his football bio right now. Defensive
19.
Back, 6
he
foot.
looks kind of geeky, doesn't he, in that picture?
6 foot.
Are you on the John Hopkins Athletics website?
Yeah.
Where he's got his hair is like all slicked down?
6 foot, 195.
Yeah. Dallas, Texas.
Looked like he just got done with practice, took that photo.
Now, if you go to the website, at the Gatorskin website, which is G8R, it's just hard to say G8R, Gatorskin, G8Rskin.com. It's G8Rskin.com.
Sure, I'm not going to anything now.
No. Not going to anything bad.
Yeah,
so if you go to that website, you'll see the picture of him from his senior year in high school in the Who We Are, what is it? The Who We Are thing. And there's Carter Hogg, senior year in high school. Look how long his hair was then in the blue-gray All-American game. He had a flow going then, man. He looks much cooler there, even though he has a Jets hat on. He looks much cooler there than he does in his picture from what do you call it, from Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, the thing, like I said, the thing looks like you're wearing like medieval chainmail or like the fencing hood, like that they wear for when you fence. It looks like the hood.
Makes sense though
with the little face mask. Yeah.
It makes sense, though, that it would slow down the brain going to the, banging up against the front of your head.
And I've seen that, obviously, you've seen the evolution of the inside of the helmet, too. I mean, there's gel packs now. I mean, the when I looked inside my helmet, or the helmet for my little brother right now at Grissom, I mean, light years compared to some of the padding that, that obviously you had or I had or, anybody in that time frame. I mean, there's been a lot of evolution when it comes to that kind of stuff. And when you see players being able to do something like this, and it's something small, like quarterbacks wear or some other players too, they wear the Under Armour that have the little padding inside of it. So they wear the padding, that have the rib padding or whatever. And, they'll have the extra protective little, stuff that, you've seen Under Armour and Nike and other types of stuff like that be able to create. So,
yeah, it is.
But guys are still stupid. They won't wear their knee
You think
pads.
it's different? You think it's different from you? I had in 4 years of high school football, 3 of which I played at the varsity level. In 4 years of high school football, I had 3 different helmet iterations. We started with my first helmet was a suspension helmet. 1975, I had a suspension helmet. If you look up suspension helmet, you see what the inside of the suspension helmet. Then in 1976, I had a water helmet. We had the water helmet, and that became such a big thing. It had water inside it and so on. So we had the water helmet. And then in 1977 and 78, we had these foam pads. They were just like strips of foam pads that were inside the helmet. That was the helmet, and that one was the worst. That was the most uncomfortable one. I pressed on my forehead, leave a big mark on your forehead.
I look like Peyton Manning. I'd have a huge red mark from the one I had, and it was like a big flat forehead pad. It was awful.
And I don't know about you. You were 20 years after me. We used to have to grab our ear holes and pull our helmet up to get it off.
Yes.
These guys now, they grab it by the face mask and take it off like it's a baseball hat.
No.
They don't take it off like it's a baseball hat.
Mine, because, we put it on right, but mine I felt like it stuck to my cheeks. And I'd have to take it off of my ears. Like it would actually, like a baseball helmet. I'd have to take it off of my head. Yeah.
Harry is up next. Harry, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Tom, thank you very much. Hey, Tom, I am so disappointed the way the Southeastern Conference kicked the can down the road and the fans. Who's representing the fans' equity in this whole deal? If it's all about money, let's get down to it and get on with it. But what they're proposing is going to impact the game day experience. It's going to impact strength of schedule. It's going to impact the whole Southeastern Conference. And they're kicking the can down the road for the money. From my opinion.
Well, I think that I think, Harry, that there are a lot of contracts in place already for 2024. A lot of the schedules are already done, and they don't want to necessarily unwind some of that stuff. And he wanted to see how it all shakes out. So 2024 is going to look. Let me tell you what's going to look like. 2024 is going to look just like 2023. The only difference is that there's going to be no divisions, so it'll all be one big 16-team league, and you're going to lose one of your SEC games, and you're going to gain either Texas or Oklahoma. So there's really no change in 2023 to 2024. Now, I fully believe that by the time you get to 2025, you'll have your 9-game schedule. I think you'll get there. But you're an Auburn fan, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so if I tell you that you're going to lose your Florida game, right now you've got Florida. This is 2024 now. Right now you got Florida coming in to Jordan-Hare Stadium. If you lose the Florida game, they take that off the schedule and they add the Texas game. Is it a problem for you? That didn't change anything.
It's a big problem for me because when I was at Auburn from 69 to 73, and I've been an Auburn fan since I was 12 years old, listening to it on an AM radio station out of Columbus, Georgia. Florida, Georgia, and Alabama were big games for Auburn, huge games for Auburn, and you had great stadium atmosphere and great turnout. Georgia came in and said, okay, we're going to take you away from Amen Corner where you play Georgia and Alabama in November. Kirby didn't want to do that. He wanted to get that Auburn game out of the way early. We made that change. We changed LSU also to accommodate LSU. What's going to happen from my perspective? We lost a lot of leverage going in to these discussions. Your hypothesis on the potential scheduling, I think, is spot on. But I can tell you, strength of schedule is going to have a big to play once you get into these discussions about how many of these teams go into the expanded format.
The SEC's not going to have any problem getting into the tournament, though. I mean, you know what I mean? They're just because you're playing the ULM Warhawks and the New Mexico Lobos, because you're also playing Alabama, Arkansas, LSU, Texas A&M, Georgia. You're not going to. But the thing is this. I know what you're saying, Harry, because you're like me. You're older, and that Florida-Auburn game was a big deal. That Florida-Auburn game has not been a big deal for the last 15 years. You know what I mean? They don't play. They play
divisions, and we had to.
They play sporadically. So let me ask you this: you got to fit either Oklahoma or Texas into your schedule. All right, you're going to get one or the other. Okay. So what game would you take off the schedule? Would you rather take the Arkansas game off the schedule at home?
I'd take Mississippi State off the schedule.
You're at Mississippi State, though, that year. See, that year you're at Mississippi State and you're at Ole Miss.
now because
Yeah.
we're playing State at Auburn this year. Yeah.
Now, so
I
maybe
just- I
they
just
take
wanna-
State off and you play at Texas. You know what I mean? Instead of at Mississippi State, you might play at Texas that year because obviously Texas and Oklahoma are going to have some home games too. But so maybe they do that.
Do we really think that Austin, Texas, and Norman, Oklahoma are going to travel as well as Gainesville, Florida, or Starkville, Mississippi? These other things.
Well, I think they're going to travel. I think they're going to travel early on.
I don't.
But what do you need them to travel for? You don't want you want 89,000 Auburn fans at the game. You don't need them to travel.
I like the atmosphere you have when you got to. I love Alabama games at Auburn. I love Georgia games at Auburn.
Well, Texas and Oklahoma they'll sell their 10,000 tickets. Their visiting allotment of 10,000. They'll sell them. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma is going to be. I'd rather see Texas and Oklahoma than some of these non-conference games. That's why we got to get to
Absolutely.
9. We'll get to 9.
I agree with you there too, but I can tell you, Texas won't travel as well as Florida State would or Georgia Tech would coming into the Plains, and I can tell you right now, it's all about the money from what I can tell, because that damn word didn't get mentioned out when they said we're going to go 3-6. No interest on money. It's all about money, and they're going to ruin the game day experience, Tom.
Yeah. All right, Harry. Appreciate the call, man. Good job by you.
You take care, but have a great weekend. Keep Grizz straight out here.
I'll do my best I can with him. I'll just do the best I can with him.
That's right.
All right, Grizz, before we go to the break, let me tell you this, all right, because we're 2 months into the baseball season. We're a third of the way through the baseball season, right?
Yeah.
Let me give you a praise report, as we like to say around the church. Baseball's gone from 3 hours and 11 minutes to 2 hours and 39 minutes. We are holding at 32 minutes per night less, with no less action. No less action. Remember, that's 32 minutes of inaction that's gone away. 32 minutes. Over the course of the season, Grizz, that's 86 hours of nothingness. A week of daytime stuff. 86 hours would be a week of being awake. All right, of daytime stuff. A whole week of our life of just sitting here watching a guy scratch himself or walk around the mound. All of that is gone. 86 hours of that is gone. And you'd think, well, the games are faster. Runs have gone from 8.57 runs per game to 9.15 runs per game. So runs are up 3/4 of a run. So there's more scoring in a shorter game time. Same 9 innings, same 27 outs. More scoring in less time to play a 9-inning game. And here's the most important thing. For the first time since 2015, attendance at Major League Baseball games is up.
Nice.
So attendance is up, scoring is up, and dead time is down.
Good for this. It could be good.
This is
Sounds
fantastic.
good. Sounds great.
This is fantastic. Text window about the cupcake games. The fans could put a stop to those games quickly if less than 20,000 showed up at each. All out of the 3 cupcake games this season, then they're over. The fans don't care enough to do that. Of course, the fans care too much to do that. They care too much because you know what? There's a lot of fans. That's the game they get to go to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They get somebody who has season tickets.
Game. Yeah,
right. Somebody who has season tickets to the Tide, and then they say, "Well, I got my tickets for Middle Tennessee game if you want."
Or they're not $300 for nosebleed or higher.
You know what I mean? Get them cheaper. Yeah. That's for some people. That's the only game they can get. And let me tell you something. Some people are so caught up in the team, they show up 80,000 for practice. What makes you think they're not going to? I mean, it's still a game. You're still taking in a whole game day experience. But I agree with you. I wouldn't pay money to go to one of them. I can tell you that right now. Cupcake game. Would never do it. All right, we'll get a break. We'll come back and wrap it up next. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, We're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. A couple of isolated showers certainly can't be ruled out. Otherwise, temperatures climb into the mid and upper 80s, dropping into the low and mid 60s through the overnight early into your Saturday morning. Really is shaping up to be quite a fantastic weekend across the Tennessee Valley. Mostly sunny sky for your Saturday. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. An isolated shower certainly can be ruled out, dropping into the mid 60s through the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Sunday. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, West Neighbors, and of course, Thom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Says 1984, he had a bike helmet with the inflatable cushions, the air helmet. Old air helmet. I began my coaching career in 1986, and our guys had the air helmet. I used to walk around practice. I used to always have an inflator in my back pocket. I would carry it in a little bulb with the needle, and the thing in it, and I would carry it around because you know what the kids would do? The kids figured out how they would let air out of their helmet during the week. They would let some air out of the helmet so that it wouldn't be so tight at practice, and they wanted it loose and it was more comfortable and all this kind of stuff, especially the fodder. You know what the fodder is on the team, right? The fodder, FOD, FOD.
Oh, yeah.
Cannon.
Yeah,
that's the cannon fodder guys. That's cannon fodder guys.
Yeah,
those are the guys that they don't play.
125-pound guys that don't play.
Yeah, you'd have the first team, the second team. Like we would have our big whiteboard up, and you'd have the first team, the second team, and then you'd have another list over on the side would be FOD. That was FOD. Those are guys just
Revolution helmets. Like 9 dudes had them when I played in high school. Like 9 lucky guys got to get the Revolution helmets.
I used to walk around and practice. I used to walk around and practice while they were stretching during stretch, and I would just stick it. I would stick the thing in their helmet while they were stretching, and I would pump them up a little bit. Pump.
I was so bad. I always walked up to them, acted like I was, say, "Hey, brother, what's going on?" And I'd pull their chin strap off their thing.
Rumpy says that. Rumpy says that no DH in the National League is why the runs are up. No, there was no DH last year. I'm going from last year to this year. I think they had a DH last year in the National League. We're still up 3/4 of a run per game. All right, coming up next is the Paul Feinbaum Show. I'm sure he'll have plenty to say about the schedule. I'm Thom Abraham. Have a wonderful week.